I've got a very exciting announcement today. I will be introducing Ayurveda to Effortless Parenting. Hi, my name is Annette, and Effortless Parenting will show you how you deserve a calmer home and how to have the courage to accept to be imperfect. So I am introducing Ayurveda, and in a couple of months you're going to get a chance to embark with me on this most ancient and exploring the most ancient healthcare system in the world. And what you will learn on this course is how to identify why your children are different and what brain body type each individual child is. And that's been coming up in my parenting courses for years now, that parents say, I'm parenting them the same, but they're so different. And I think that you will find a lot of answers in Ayurveda. And if you have an only child, this will also be really of interest to you, because you get a real deeper sense of what your child is all about. And how I discovered Ayurveda was in 2007, when I, only days before I learned transcendental meditation, which is a part of Ayurveda, I started having an autoimmune disease. And since that sent me on this journey of discovering and learning about the root cause of my autoimmune disease, rather than fixing the symptoms. And what my GP at the time had offered me was to give me medication that may kill fertility. And I wanted, and he said to me, if I wanted a family, I would need to do this now before I needed to go on really strong medication. So I went and followed his advice, and I had two beautiful, healthy children. And parallel to that, I kind of learned how to balance those four elements in my body. And that resulted in me being able, without any medication, and I'm not dissing Western medicine, I think there's a great place for it if there's ever a broken arm or if you have an accident and you need surgery. Ayurveda offers something else, and what it helped me was to reduce those outbreaks from almost every couple of weeks to less than once a year. And when I now have an outbreak, I'm able to see why and what is out of balance in my body, and how to bring it back into balance. And that is something that is so empowering. I would love to share this knowledge with everybody who wants to hear it. And I am not, just a disclaimer, I am not an Ayurvedic practitioner. It's probably something I would have loved to study if I not been able to have children. And I highly recommend that if you do have an imbalance in your body, to go and see an Ayurvedic practitioner. And what they do is they, I can't do it right now, but they take three fingers and they would put them on your wrist and feel your pulse. And through pulse diagnosis, they're able to say, you know, what is out of balance, or what are the elements in your body that are more dominant. And I'll come back to that in a minute. So when I went to this Ayurvedic practitioner, he even was able to tell me that once I was pregnant, the second, whether it was a boy or girl, and you could say, okay, 50-50 chance, but he got it right, it was a girl. And then he even told me what her nature would be, and he got that bang on, and I was just fascinated with that. So I want to just briefly, and I've got some notes here because I could go on for hours. I'm very passionate about Ayurveda, and when I share it with friends and family. So I might look for my notes to not go rambling on. So there's really four main elements in Ayurveda, and we all know them. So it's air, it's fire, and it's water and earth. And in Ayurveda, those last two are one dosha. They're referred to as doshas, and those three doshas are called vata, which is the air element and responsible for the movement in our body. Then there's fire, it's called pitta, and it's responsible for transformation. And then there's water and earth, those last ones, and that's called kapha, and that stands for, or is responsible for the stability in our body. And those three doshas, vata, pitta, kapha, can be found in every single cell of our body. And they all have their function in every cell. And us human beings are made up of our own individual percentage of those elements. And an Ayurvedic practitioner can feel by your pulse, and there's also a way of self-diagnosis how you can find out what you are. So I, for example, I'm a kapha pitta type, and you can be either just one dosha or a combination of two, or you could be all three. And how this is relevant is that it comes up in every in the times of the day. So for example, the morning, lunch and evening would be underlying one of those three doshas, and they also come back in the season of the year and even the span of the lifetime. And it's so interesting. So for example, right now here in Ireland we are in pitta season in the summer, so the last couple of days have been quite hot, and what I tend to do, I would drink more cooling teas, like a peppermint tea. And I need to really watch this fire dosha in me. If it gets out of balance, then I can become very stressed, or I really struggle with perfectionism, which is one of those fire imbalances. And what the food that I lean to eat to balance and bring to cool down that fire would be more sweet, more bitter, and more astringent. And by sweet, I don't mean sweets, but I mean ripe fruit. And I think we naturally know all this, and this is what I love about it. So I think in the summer we tend to have more salads, you know, the astringent bitter flavors, because they cool us down. Unless you're maybe very strong in pitta, you wouldn't eat a cooling salad on a cold winter's day, you know. So, and how, let me just have a quick look at my notes. How this relates to your child, you may ask, is that when I'm planning this course, you're going to get a really good sense of how you can help find out what your child is. So let's say you did have a little fiery child, and I've got one of them, and they tend to be very high energy and very into the detail, and can be sensitive as well. And what they like, or what is good for them to balance them, is to have them be near water when it's very hot, you know, and avoid, if you're going on holidays, avoid the very hot lunchtime sun, you know. So have them out playing with water, or be in water, or be out in nature, you know, and that will really keep them in balance. And what I've been observing over the years is that our children intuitively and naturally know what's good for them and how to stay in balance. And my children, for example, in the summertime, they would more be into eating like watermelon or grapes, you know, anything high in water, because they naturally cool down. And I have something else that is very helpful. They might enjoy drinking out of this copper cup here. So you fill this with water overnight, and that would have cooling properties then, you know. And yeah, that's something I recommend. So I'm really fascinated. What I learned over the years was all these properties of the food, and what the different vegetables and spices and grains and their properties that they have. And then I learned how to balance myself in those different seasons. And I heard over the weekend, I was at the island of world peace, and it's not just a name, it actually feels like you were in world peace after a few days on that island. I heard something that Hippocrates said, that let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. And that's really what I've been living by over the last few years, you know. So I think when you hear about this knowledge, a lot of it will be common sense, and you have like an inner knowing, you know, almost of what you need to do, because a lot of things were done that way, even in countries like Ireland, you know. The main meal was had in the middle of the day, because Ayurveda, and this is one of the last points I want to make before this gets too long. Ayurveda, everything with all the doshas, Ayurveda would look at your digestion. So your health is really, Ayurveda can say a lot, how you digest the food, and then that kind of determines your health, you know. So that's one aspect to look at. And it's something that everybody can learn, you know. And oh yeah, sorry, I've lost my train of thought. The digestion. So for example, and it's now coming up to lunchtime here, it's when the sun is highest in the sky that our digestion is the most active, and that's why the main meal is recommended during those hours, because your body will find it much easier to digest the food. And then that you eat, and we even did this in Germany, we ate more lightly in the evenings, you know. So that maybe if you look at something like problems with sleep or waking up during the night, that one of the reasons could be that your body just has way too much to digest in the evening and won't let you sleep, you know. So it's all stuff that you know, but when you do the course, you're gonna get a bit of a scientific approach to it, and it's something to refer to, you know. And I'm planning on making a little workbook with it, so you may have some notes that you then can refer to. And if you are interested in joining, then you can just, I'm going to put the link in the description box. So underneath the video, you're going to have a little summary what this is about, and then it'll say more, which is usually written in bold. And you click on that, and in the description box, you're going to see my email address or a link to sign up to my mailing list. And if you come onto my mailing list, you'll find out more details about this upcoming course. So thank you for listening, and maybe sharing my passion and enthusiasm for Ayurveda, and how to really take that power back of how to heal yourself and enjoy creating calmer homes.